Hello, hello, hello. How are you tonight? If you've not subscribed to my channel, try that, and it may let you comment after that. Hey, Nina. Yay! Mercy's here. I'm ready too, y'all. And I got my drink going on. If I need more drink, I got this little bottle. I still haven't figured out what it is yet. It's pretty cool in here, so I'm gonna go without a fan. So we'll see. I've always got the good backups. Oh yeah, baby. This sucker is double-sided. And you see how long it is? And it vibrates on both ends. It's got two controls. So it vibrates on both ends. You can vibrate it on one end or the other end or both ends at the same time. $30, Amazon. I'll send you the link if you want me to. Yes. Yes. See if I can find it right quick. While we waiting. Yeah, Jeopardy was just going off, y'all. Sorry. All right, let's do this. Let's see. Wrong one. That's what she said. All righty. There you go, ma'am. Oh, yes. I haven't worn this thing out, and I've only had it, 2 or 3 weeks? All righty. Where's Jackie? I just updated that thing last night. Welcome. Let's see. Vincey's going to be a little bit late. All right, Jackie's on her way. All All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let me show you this cover. Gosh, he's hot. He's hot. They're all hot. Yes, it's called Railed. So, Railed, a contemporary RH standalone by Chloe Gunter and Mercy DeSimone. Is that how DeSimone? Is that how you say it, Mercy? I debated on, because I've already read this book. Oh my gosh. And I debated on Chloe made that cover. That's a hot cover. I debated on where to go because there's so much sex in this, y'all. You just don't even know. But being an RH, some of it's together, some of it's apart, some of it's partial. So I think I was telling Nina earlier, I feel like I'm going to be the little old lady at the grocery store that has the plastic apron on and the hat on her hand and the gloves on, and she's passing out the samples of chicken on a toothpick. Well, that's going to be me tonight because I'm going to tease you guys. I'm only going to give you a little bit, and it's going to go. You guys are going to want to kill me. Okay, so let's do this. Chapter 1. Oh, and the male voices, y'all. There are four males. Four males in this. Oh my gosh. 5 if you count Dipwad. But I can do that one real easy. I seriously need a drink. I'd been poring over blueprints and sketches for days, ensuring that every aspect of my presentation for tomorrow would be perfect. Trans Travel Enterprises had commissioned my firm to handle the plans for their new facility in Nashville. And after years of proving myself, I was finally running point on a project. For years, I've been trying to establish myself as a serious architect. After getting my BA at Virginia Tech, I settled back in my hometown, digging into design with a vengeance. Still an old boys club, I was lucky to fall into a family firm with a great reputation in the DC area. Now, after almost 10 years of working evenings and weekends and putting my personal life on hold, I was on the cusp of feeling like all that I had worked for was finally coming to fruition. To say my personal life was a victim of my ambition is to put it lightly. Not that I was lonely per se. After all, men are pretty accessible, especially if you go in with a no strings attached attitude. But let's face it, when you're driven to succeed the way I am, men are a convenience. And most of the ones I've met have proven to be about as deep as a puddle after a rain shower. Trans Travel had graciously flown me out and made hotel arrangements in the preparation for our meeting. And while the rooms were lovely, it seems like I've been staring at these 4 walls for hours. Scanning my eyes across the presentation one more time, I realized there's nothing left for me to review tonight and decide to head to the lobby in search of that much-needed drink. Groaning, I stand from my cramped position where I've been sitting cross-legged on the bed with my plans spread out before me. My heavy workload hasn't given me much time for hitting the gym lately, but I'm still pretty lithe in the limbs. All those teenage years reluctantly attending dance classes finally paying off. My mother always insisted it was important to learn to be active, and I had no intention of playing on a sports team. Dance was a compromise we both could live with. Right now, I feel the need to drop to the floor and do a few gentle yoga poses to stretch my aching limbs, hoping to relieve the cramping in my calves. Peeking in the mirror, I take in my limp chocolate curls and tired green eyes. Sweeping my curls back from where they continually tend to fall across my forehead, I'm a bit surprised to find that even though I've been hunched over for hours, my sundress isn't too unbearably wrinkled, and my casual top knot is still passable. I remind myself once again that bangs are not an experiment to ever be repeated, as I anchor them back behind my ears for the millionth time today. Searching for an extra hair clip in my travel bag, there's a bit of tightness around my eyes from a looming headache, but my cheeks are slightly flushed, and a little lip gloss goes a long way toward focusing attention away from the fine lines I believe I see blossoming around my eyes. I may still be on the short side of 30, but it's never too early to be proactive. Maybe I need a new moisturizer, I muse. Slipping on some strappy sandals, I grab my key card and head out. Making my way to the lobby, I eagerly set off in search of the bar. When I don't initially see a bar area, I'm filled with disappointment. A patio exit catches my eye, and hope flares as I move in that direction. As soon as my hand touches the push bar to the outside, it swings open, and I go flying as another person comes through. Someone's hands slip around my waist to keep me from falling flat on my ass, and I hear a deep voice say, "Easy there, sweetheart, I got you." I look up to meet bright green eyes filled with heat and a touch of amusement. He places me back on my feet as I continue my stunned perusal. Wearing a Henley and a backwards ball cap, his hair is a medium brown cut short on the sides, and judging from what I felt under his long sleeve shirt moments ago, he's quite buff. His low chuckle snaps me back into the moment, and I remember to respond to his comment. "Thanks for the save. I was just looking for a bar to grab a drink and didn't see you there." "No worries, darling. Although I do hate to be the bearer of bad news, this hotel actually doesn't have a bar. What the hell was my assistant thinking booking this place for us? But if you're up for it, the crew and I stocked up on some beer and snacks. You're more than welcome to join us on the patio for a drink or two." An easy smile plays on his face while I consider the offer. I could use a drink. Hell, I wouldn't mind the company either, especially if it was in the form of some good Southern charm. "Well, since you dropped this devastating news on me, drinks are definitely in order. I may not survive this travesty otherwise," I tease him and see his eyes flash appreciatively at my quip. He lets out a bark of laughter, steps back through the doorway, and motions for me to pass. "I think you'll get along just fine with the guys. Let me introduce you." The patio is filled with small groups of men who look like they know the meaning of hard work. What the fuck type of crew is this? Sure, being in architecture naturally lends itself to the opportunity to be around a lot of guys who could handle themselves and were easy on the eyes, but never this many at once. We approach one of the round tables where three inhumanely handsome guys seem to be engaged in lively banter about their day. Noticing our approach, they send a questioning look to my escort. "Guys, this is," he turns to me, cocking an eyebrow. "Katie," I supply with a small nod of my head. "Right. Guys, this is Katie. Since I almost ran her over, then had to deliver the news that this is a dry hotel, I thought the least I could do was invite her for a drink or two." He holds out an empty chair next to an auburn-haired man who's wearing black jeans and a tight black tee stretched across an impressive chest. Taking my hand, he introduces himself as Rhett. Now, see, in my mind, Rhett is Kaylin Hughes. Oh my gosh. And this bad boy right here is T. Hottie. The other two men across the table are dressed in various states of business casual, with sleeves rolled up and collars undone, like they had a long day at the office. The one with the sandy blonde hair rises out of his chair and reaches for a cooler behind his seat. I'm Eric. What's your poison, Katie? We've got beer and more beer. He opens the cooler, displaying the choices. How could I turn down a cold beer? The last man who has yet to introduce himself makes a sound of approval, and I turn my head to find him staring at me. His piercing, ice blue eyes and patrician nose complement his dark, side-swept hair. Shrugging it off, I try not to fidget at his inspection. I guess it's only fair since I crashed their evening. I wait for him to say something, but all he does is incline his head. Duckling. Eric passes me a bottle, and I take the seat next to Rep that he's pulled out for me. Thanks for the drink, guys. At the sound of the chair scraping on my other side, I turn to watch as the guy I ran into takes his seat. Waiting for him to introduce himself, I look at him patiently. He doesn't pick up my cue, only eyeing my drink. Amused, I take a sip, then gesture towards him. I think you forgot something. Did I hit you too hard? Confusion filters across his face. Rhett seems to find this hilarious and takes mercy on him. That's Grady. Don't be too hard on him. I think you flustered him a bit. Grady doesn't even look the least bit embarrassed. He just takes a swig of his beer, maintaining eye contact with me the entire time. I knew right then that the night could turn into something more than I bargained for. A man who looks at you like that knows exactly what he wants to do with you. The thought has me squirming in my chair while an unexpected tingle shivers down my spine. There's a feeling I haven't experienced in a while. Trying to distract myself from those thoughts, I decided to learn more about the men who now gaze at me expectantly. Hello, Miss Surly. You mentioned something about a crew, so what exactly do you guys do? Grady gestures to the rest of the guys on the patio. The crew is working on the new railroad that's going up in town. How interesting. When researching the area, I hadn't come across any news this big. It could potentially factor into the design and location of my plans. I find myself wondering why that never came up in any of my demographic or Department of Labor surveys on the area we commissioned before starting this project. So you all work on the rails? I direct my question toward Eric because somehow I doubt dress shirts are daily occurrences. More or less. He smirks at some inside joke. But enough about us. What about you? What led you here of all places? Not wanting to dwell on the project I'm involved with, I tell them I'm in town for work and let the conversation drift to other topics. Admittedly, I'm having a blast. Although Declan doesn't say much, the rest of us fall into an easy conversation as if this is an everyday occurrence. I haven't had this much fun in a while, not to mention I catch the looks that Rhett and Grady are throwing my way. Could they be interested in me? There's definitely some heat coming in my direction from both of them. Oddly, I don't feel any of the competitive posturing that tends to come from two alpha males who have both set their sights on the same woman, and they definitely give off the aura of alpha males. Beginning to feel a bit flustered by their interest, when Eric opens the cooler and notices the ice getting low, I immediately offer to grab some from the front desk, needing a moment of reprieve. Reaching the front desk, I strike up a conversation with Heather, the agent who checked me in earlier, asking for more ice. She seems easy to talk to and perhaps a little too perspective because she asked me if I'm all right and mentions having noticed me sitting with some of the railroad crew guys. Needing advice and to sort my own thoughts, I kill time by confessing that I don't know what to do and tell her about the two guys that have been driving me crazy all night. Are you interested in them? She finally asked. I grin back at her. Yeah, I am. I just don't know which one. Laughing at me playfully, she blows my mind with her next words. Why choose? Take them both. No judgment. Freezing, I stare at her wide-eyed before breaking out in an easy laugh. She's right. It's not something I've done before, but I can't help but feel a little thrill of empowerment from her suggestion. Making my way back to the table, I take a few steps before I look over my shoulder at Heather. I love you, I say, shaking my head in disbelief as I giggle a bit at the thought. Shortly after reclaiming my seat at the table, both Eric and Declan excused themselves for the night with talk of early morning meetings. I know I should turn in soon too, but I don't care. I enjoy hearing about how Rhett and Grady were roommates in undergrad and all of the antics they got into together. It's clear from their easy demeanor and camaraderie that they're more family than friends. I can't deny there is something happening here that I'm not sure I want to stop. The three of us have gravitated closer to each other. Grady has a hand on my knee, leaning into our bubble, while Rhett has his arm slung on the back of my chair. It's more than just an insane attraction I feel for them. Even when Eric and Declan were still at the table, I felt a sense of companionship I haven't felt in a while. Completely at ease. I know that it's gotten to the point where I need to make a decision about whether I want to take things any further tonight. I excuse myself to go to the bathroom and find myself talking to Heather again. So give me a rundown on the two guys that are still out there. She's trying to tell me I don't need to choose. It's totally fine for me to want both of these men. I find myself wondering if, as someone who sees a lot of travelers, she's used to recognizing the instant attraction that sometimes occurs between total strangers. The truth is, I had a strange pull to all four of them almost immediately. But Grady and Rhett have definitely filled in most of the conversation tonight. I tell her that Grady is brunette and buff in the looks department. He's so self assured and has this level of intensity that makes it hard not to pay attention to him. On the other hand, Rhett is playful, quick to smile, and offered to take me two-stepping while they're in town. He's a fast friend that I could see myself talking to for ages. As our conversation dwindles, I find myself wanting to get back to the guys. I snag one of her red vines and take some of her encouragement to heart. Red and Grady are deep in conversation, but rise from their seats when I approach the table. We were wondering if you'd like to move this to my room, Grady asked, his eyes filled with heat. I look to Rhett, who gives me an encouraging smile. Frozen momentarily, I contemplate their offer before thinking, fuck it, you only live once. Sure, I agree. Lead the way. Rhett places a hand on the small of my back as we follow Grady. I spy Heather out of the corner of my eye with a big shit-eating grin on her face, winking as she watches me walk between them toward the opposite wing from where I'm staying. The entire way to the room, both of them brush up against me in some way. The sexual tension is thick. There's no mistaking what is about to happen. My heart is racing and I can feel my pulse speeding. No matter how many lackluster dates I've had in the past, I've always gone in with good intentions, believing it needed to be a prelude to a potential relationship. This feels more dangerous, deliciously so. Almost as if I finally just decided to stop trying to play into the conventional relationships that have always failed me, and just go for something that feels good in the moment. As soon as we enter his room, Grady stalks towards me. You sure you want to do this? He asks as he settles his hands on my hips, opting for complete honesty. I tell them exactly how I'm feeling. I'm not sure what it is about you guys, but I find myself drawn to you. I'm not sure I could choose between you if I tried. And Heather, he quirks an eyebrow in question. Heather, the badass chick working the night shift at the front desk, said I shouldn't have to. So I'm following through with this. I want it more than I've wanted anything in a really long time. Rhett presses into me from behind, his heat engulfing me seconds before I feel his lips near my ear. I know what you mean, honey. I I feel it too. He places hot kisses behind my ear and slowly drags his lips down my neck. Grady wastes no time claiming my lips. Clothes quickly begin to drop in a path across the room as we back toward the bed. How the hell do these men not get mauled in public on a daily basis? If I wasn't already turned on enough, I'm pleasantly surprised to see that Grady is sporting some seriously drool-worthy ink. Tracing my fingers down his chest, I'm intrigued to find a fierce grizzly bear gripping a heart near his left pec. I love that tat and the meaning behind it, but you guys got to read the book to get the meaning. Wanting to know the significance, I'm about to ask when his lips cover mine once again. As Grady finally breaks away, Rhett steps in, giving me a searing kiss before lightly pushing me down on the bed. Tangling my hands through his tawny curls, my fingers travel across the sculpted planes of his cheeks before trailing down to his shoulders and gripping tightly to muscled biceps. My eyes trace the sexy V of light hair that travels down his chest like an arrow leading to his heavy cock straining in my direction. Eek! The cool air makes me shiver as the mattress dips next to me. Grady's lips start at my throat and slowly trail down my chest, where he swirls his tongue around my nipples and gently nips them. I clench my legs together at the sensation, but Rhett's hands quickly find my thighs and push them open from where he stands next to the bed before scooting down to the end, kneeling on the floor between my legs as they dangle over the edge. Kissing the inside of my thigh, he uses his fingers to spread my lips. It's getting hot, y'all. Giving one hard lick that I wasn't expecting, he says, "You taste fucking delicious, sweetheart, just like I thought you would." He quickly goes to work licking and gently nibbling, guiding me closer and closer to the peak. Every nerve buzzing at the sensational assault, beginning to squirm from the dual sensation. I lost my place, y'all. Sensations of Grady and Rhett working in tandem. I'm not sure how long I'll be able to hold out before I fall over the edge. I reach down and place a hand on Rhett's hair, urging him closer while I draw Grady's head back to my chest. As soon as my fingers grip Rhett's auburn locks, he starts fucking me with his tongue. My legs begin to shake uncontrollably as he slides his hands under me and grabs my ass, pressing his face even closer. The wave riding me finally crests as I come hard, and instead of moving away, Rhett kneads my ass and continues to lap at my clit, letting me ride out my orgasm. Grady rolls me toward him, giving me a sweet kiss before running his palm down my slick back. I turn back to face Rhett again to find him staring at me with a whole new spark in his eyes. I'm not sure what it means, but I want to make him look at me like that again and again. He pulls me toward him, guiding me to get on my knees and hands and knees. I hear the faint tear of a wrapper, then feel Grady's hands on my hips, tugging me back towards him. "Katie," he breathes, my name falling from his lips like a prayer and a promise. Butterflies flutter to let him know I'm ready as he tightens his grip on my hips and pushes inside me. The first plunge has my pussy clenching at the fullness as I inhale with his initial thrust, anticipating taking my breath away. My breath rushes out of me as he starts a steady rhythm, letting me get accustomed to the size of him. Reaching his hand around my hips, he starts to rub little circles on my clit, exciting me more and more. I reach out for Rhett, needing him to be a part of this. From his position before me at the foot of the bed, he reaches down, his hand caressing my cheek, and I open my mouth to him, needing to feel and taste his cock just as he tasted me. Gathering my hair off the nape of my neck, Rhett holds in his firm grip. A long moan escapes my lips, both men taking my whimpers of delight as a signal as to really start to move. I didn't realize how much Grady was actually holding back until he starts fucking me in earnest. The fullness of Grady behind me and Rhett's hard smoothness down my throat quickly sets off new tremors throughout my body. Pretty soon, I can't hold back any longer and I fall apart, dragging both Grady and Rhett with me. We collapse in a heap on the bed, the boys tucking me between them. My thoughts race as I process what I just did with a sense of disbelief. I'm a bit amazed at my boldness and amazed that I let myself go with such abandon. This is hands down the best night of my life, but I can't help but feel a sliver of doubt about how Grady and Rhett might perceive me. As if he can tell I'm beginning to overthink things, Rhett presses a quick kiss to my brow. Don't get shy now, honey. I think it's a little late for that. Pulling me close for another quick kiss, he slides off the bed before starting to pull on his clothes. A remorseful look passes over his features. I really don't want to leave now, Katie. Please know that. But I need to head back to my room in the other wing near the crew. Are you up for going two-stepping with us tomorrow night? I really want to spend some more time with you. Feeling more confident, I know he's not trying to escape whatever it is that is going on here. But I'm pretty sure it's probably around 4 or so in the morning, and I really need to be getting back to my room too. I'm not sure exactly how demanding my schedule is going to be tomorrow, but I'd like to go out with you guys again if you're still going to be in town. Just before Rhett leaves the room, I see promise and satisfaction in his eyes. Turning back to face Grady, I find him staring at me with the same level of intensity I saw in Rhett's eyes earlier. I really should get going too. I have a work function in the morning and need to get some rest. He looks like he's about to say something important, but at this moment, I don't think I have it in me to handle anything else tonight. We both know that if I stay, we won't get any rest, and all the words on the tip of his tongue might come rolling off. You have no idea how happy I am that I ran into you today, Katie. I can't wait to see you again. Meet us in the lobby tomorrow at 8 p.m., okay? I drop a kiss to the corner of his mouth before I turn back to him, suddenly shy as I dress and adjust myself, heading towards the door. The closer I get to the door, the more conflicted he looks. I'll be there, I whisper, not wanting to lose this moment, feeling rewarded as his eyes light with mischief. With one last lingering gaze, I head back to my room, passing out as soon as my head hits the mattress. I wake the next morning grateful that the meeting isn't until 11 a.m. Even though I'm running on a little sleep, I refuse to let myself be distracted. This presentation and subsequent project could make me a partner. I push aside the flood of memories and thoughts surrounding last night, telling myself I'll deal with them after the meeting. Armed with my portfolio and plans, I make my way to the local Trans Travel Enterprise office, where the receptionist greets me with a warm smile. Good morning. I'm here for an appointment with Mr. Sawyer. Sawyer is my point of contact at Trans Travel and has been heading up the project on their end. We've been emailing back and forth the past couple of months, going over all the requirements and wants concerning the new facility. Despite the fact that the company and he have an obscene amount of money, he's always seemed to be level-headed and realistic in our conversation. Yes, Miss Roth, I need to apologize for a slight change in plans. Mr. Sawyer's flight was unfortunately delayed, but don't worry, he'll be available for video conferencing and was able to pull together a couple of board members and senior staff who happen to be in town to meet with you here. They're waiting for you in the conference room. I really hope I'm not staring at her in dismay. My presentation was geared towards all of my correspondence with Mr. Sawyer. I take a deep breath as she leads me down the hallway. What's the worst that could happen? I'm prepared. professional, and I've spent the last couple of months going over every nuance of these plans. Surely the board members and officers will be able to respect that as well. Walking into the conference room, I find 4 impeccable men dressed in what are clearly custom tailored suits. Hearing my entrance, they turn towards me and I feel all the blood drain from my face. Railroad crew my ass. There, sitting at the table and looking at me with varying degrees of surprise, are Eric, Declan, Rhett, and Grady. Fuck. Do I read more or do I leave it there? I was thinking this was 2 chapters. I was going to leave it there. Mm. Oh. Okay, let me read some more. That's actually where I had planned on leaving it, but I was thinking it would take longer to read it. God, that would be so mean if I just left it there. I stand there awkwardly with what I know must be a stunned expression, groaning inwardly. Gotta have some light, y'all. Sorry. I'm going blind. I stand there awkwardly with what I know must be a stunned groaning inwardly. I immediately regret every moment of my life until this very point in time. What did I do to deserve this? I mean, other than this one impulsive transgression, I'm kind to animals and children. I floss regularly. I volunteer at the local food bank. How can this be happening to me? From the corner of my eyes, Rhett's easy expression widens with interest while a full-on grin breaks across Grady's face. Eric suddenly straightens in his seat as he suddenly recognizes me. Declan sits to the side, as usual, giving me an unfathomable look, but I'm pretty certain I detect a new spark of interest in his gaze as he leans back casually, crossing a leg over his knee. Miss Roth, Eric stands and extends his shoulder. What a pleasure. We've heard so much about you, he says as my eyes widen in horror, shifting to Grady and Rhett. From Sawyer. My eyes snout back to his as he grasps my hand. I don't mistake the way his thumb gently caresses the back of my hand as he clasps it in a firm shape before dropping it gently back to my side. A deep, hitching breath fills my lungs, and I know my face is flaming, all the while wishing the floor would open and drop me into the hell that I'm certain is waiting for me. Why choose? I believe I just answered that question to a devastating effect. I'm moving immediately to a hotel with a real bar. I think crazily, wondering how I got myself into this mess. Rhett stands, still the easygoing gentleman from last evening, and tries to ease me out of my predicament. It's truly a pleasure to meet you, Miss Roth. May we call you Katie? He asks as my brain scrambles for some sense of equilibrium. I nod wordlessly as he asks the assistant to bring coffee and refreshments for all of us. How about some coffee while you set up? I think we could all use an extra cup today. Quickly jumping to his feet, Grady grabs my materials from my limp arms as I stare helplessly around the room. Is this really how a career crashes and burns in an instant without a warning? Grady clears his throat, adding, I know I definitely didn't get enough REMs last night. His eyes search mine, laughing as he continues, but I could definitely be persuaded to get to bed earlier tonight. Don't be an ass, Grady. Rhett draws from the door, closing it gently behind the assistant. You know we promised to take the crude two-stepping this evening. I'd certainly hate to disappoint anyone that was counting on us to provide them with entertainment tonight. He says while raising an eyebrow at me slightly, watching my expression carefully. I see Eric's lips twitch slightly at the predicament. Predicament. See, I have a hard time with that word. Always have. Predicament I'm in. Thankfully, he decides to take pity on me. I think we can discuss our plans later, boys. He gestures to the table as I finally set down all of the binders and blueprints before me. Let's see what Ms. Roth came to show us. Declan abruptly leans forward, pinning me with his direct gaze. Yes, Ms. Roth. His voice filled with challenge. I think we all are very interested in seeing what you can do. My knees clench at that dark velvet voice wraps around my core. I'm going to kill Heather. Forever Lost. I would love to just leave it with fuck. That would have been so mean, wouldn't it? I stare at the screen where Sawyer's face appears as the video conferencing springs to life. Taking a deep breath, I focus as my mind readjusts, flipping a mental switch back into business mode. Mr. Sawyer, I say with a slight bite in my voice, so sorry that you couldn't join us this morning. Fuck. I know my voice is sharp, but what the hell? Suddenly I'm playing defense when I intended to come in here and run the game. Trying to pull back my rush of emotion, I try to take a clearing yoga breath and hold it for an 8 count before exhaling slowly and getting myself back under control. I see Declan's eyes move to my face in surprise and hear his slight murmur under his breath. Well, what do you know? Our little babe has a bite after all. I raise my eyebrow at him before quickly remembering where I am and my place in this meeting. I have worked too damn hard for this entire project to implode now. More confidently, I begin to move through my presentation. These are the final plans with all the changes we discussed, I say to the group as a whole. I'm confident that I've captured the spirit of the project. Let me show you what I had in mind. I bring my presentation up on the screen and walk through all of the architectural plans that Sawyer and I had discussed previously. All I need is the final sign-off so that I can prove to my boss that I can land the big accounts. Then I can get out of this town, hopefully without any further damage to my reputation or myself. Excellent work, Ms. Roth, Sawyer says as I wind down. It seems my faith in you has not been misplaced. I believe we should be able to move forward with the final financing as early as next month. I mentally raise my arms in a victory V and scream, yes, wanting to do a little shimmy. Not so fast, Declan says to the room at large. I like what you proposed. It has a solid foundation, but this needs to come up for a full vote before the board. I believe there are still some unresolved issues that need to be ironed out. Vincy, you got here just in time, sister. With horror clearly written on my face, I stare at him in disbelief. I was given the impression that the final plans had already been approved, I say. I thought this meeting was really just a formality. Declan eyes me with a smirk in eyes. Clearly, you've misunderstood the full scope of this project, Ms. Roth. He says, it's up to the board to approve the plan, and there are some on the board who are convinced we are missing some key elements. I think what you've presented has great merit, but I also believe that it would benefit from some additional collaboration with more senior members of our team to capture any missed opportunities. I see the chagrin on Sawyer's face as Declan speaks. Something is wrong, but I haven't a clue what just happened. Sawyer led me to believe that he was the ultimate sign-off. It appears that he doesn't hold the power after all. How much collaboration? I say, trying to keep my voice from trembling. Is this really about the project or a repercussion from last night's indiscretion? Quite a bit, I believe, Declan says. But don't worry, we'll make it as painless as possible. Surely you won't need more than a week of we won't need more than a week of your time. In fact, we can start tomorrow. I take a deep breath and remind myself that the reward at the end of this project will be huge. Perhaps he really does have reservations about key points in my proposal. In fact, it's ridiculous and vain to think that what happened last night was even a consideration. After all, this is a multi-million dollar project. Surely my sex life is less than important when placed in comparison. I understand. Declan, finally relaxing. Once I'm back in my office, we can decide whether we want a daily conference or whether you just want a mid draft before we seal the final documents. Oh, I think we'll need to travel. You'll try. I think you'll need to travel to our corporate offices in Atlanta, Ms. Roth. It will make it easier for everyone if you're accessible there to work with the team. And as I said, I don't believe we will need you for more than a week. All right, I say, trying to put a zen expression on my face. Turning back to the screen, I continue. Mr. Sawyer, please send the Mr. Sawyer, please send the contract information of the executives that you wish for me. Contact information of the executives that you wish for me to work with so that I can start making the proper introductions and putting the plan in place. Oh, I don't think that will be a problem, dear, he says with a smile. They are all in the room with you. I'm sure they will be happy to share their information with you now. In fact, you can travel back to Atlanta on the corporate jet together tomorrow. Of course, we will make one of our corporate suites available to you while you're here. I've been assured they are quite comfortable and luxurious. I give them all a half-hearted smile as I nod and agree, wondering how quickly I can get out of the room. All right, then, I say determinedly. I'll just head back to the hotel and rearrange my travel plans. The men say goodbye to Sawyer as he signs off, and I try to control my chaotic thoughts. I can't believe I'm going to have to face these men for the next week. The point of a one-night stand is that everyone gets to walk away and pretend amnesia. How will I handle staring at them day after day on a professional level after having seen them naked? The daily mortification ahead of me has me practically hyperventilating on the spot. I'm sure you all have plenty of things that you need to attend to before tomorrow, and I'll need to contact my office to farm out some other projects I'm working on. I will make myself ready to leave with you in the morning. I gather my material, planning to make a quick exit. Speaking of plans, how do you think ours looks for tonight, Rhett? I believe someone offered to go two-stepping with us. Isn't that right, Katie? Grady smiles lazily from across the table. I can tell Miss Katie is a woman of integrity. Rhett solemnly replies, I'm certain that she couldn't have made it this far if she hadn't proven that she delivers what she promises. Now, boys, Eric says, clapping them both on the back, two-stepping is a pretty simple affair. I think Katie strikes me as someone who likes a challenge. With her skill, I bet she would be much more adept at line dancing. After all, things are always much more fun in groups. I don't know whether to be amused or outraged that they are talking about me as if my wishes aren't even a consideration. I know I agreed to go dancing with Rhett and Grady last night, but that was before this fiasco of a meeting. Surely I should be allowed the dignity of going back to my hotel and falling apart in private. Reminding myself that I'm a professional, I try to keep a neutral expression as the innuendos fly around me. Let's let her get out of here so that she can prepare for our night out, he continues. After all, we're on the road. I'm not certain that she thought to bring along her dancing shoes. We want to make sure that she has a chance to get comfortable before heading out with the team. Looking at Declan, he adds, you know how much more relaxed we all are after a night out dancing. I, for one, am looking forward to letting off a bit of steam. Declan stares steadily back, a non-committal expression on his face, a slight tightening of his hand around his tapping pen, the only sign of acknowledgement, as the staccato tapping stutters for a moment. My mind whirls as a mental train whistle blows shrilly in the background, and I need to decide if I really have the desire to get on board. God knows I can't just stand here waiting for that train to hit me. Shaking my head, I realize I'm even starting to talk in train analogies. I definitely need to figure this out and fast. Why choose my ass? All right, that's it. Whoop, whoop. Oh, 3 short. We're going to read 3 too because it's short. But I ain't reading no more after 3, y'all, because it gets, ooh, yeah. I start to hyperventilate as I get back in the rental car. I'm in serious trouble and I have no idea how to handle it. I feel the need to spill to someone, but whom can I talk to? My friends would be shocked to know what I've gotten myself into, and this is certainly not the type of thing you tell your family. As I drive blindly back to the hotel, my mind swirls with the implications of what I've done. And yet, I'm oddly turned on. I really don't know what to think. Is there a way to have my cake and eat it too? It seems like the guys have no problem mixing business with pleasure. The question is, am I brave enough to follow their example? I continue to sweat the entire way back to the hotel, my mind playing tug of war, trying to decide whether to move forward or pull back. As I enter the lobby, I sag in relief to see Heather crossing the lobby in front of me, clearly off duty. At this point, I'm ready to unburden myself to a total stranger. After all, I rationalize, she's the one that got me into this. Heather, I gasped, you have to help me. Stopping, she turns curious eyes my way. What's going on? She asks. I can tell she's just come from the gym. Her hair pulled back in the messy ponytail and her t-shirt soaked with sweat. I'm freaking out, I say as I move closer. Whispering softly, I begin to tell her my dilemma. I'm afraid I'm going to get fired, I wince. Her eyes get big as she stops swigging water from her bottle and leans closer. What happened? She asks, concern evident in her face. You'll never guess who my meeting was with today. I don't know what to do. Grabbing my arm, she steers me towards a quiet area of the lobby. Get a grip on yourself, girl, she says. I know we can make everything okay. I really begin to lose my shit at that point, as I will. I'm a good girl. Shit like this doesn't happen to me. She laughs softly and encourages me to go on. Just breathe, she says, and let's figure this out. It can't be the end of the world. I took your advice and I went upstairs with both Grady and Brett last night. Heather's face breaks into a broad grin as she laughs and claps delightedly. You go, girl, she says. I knew you had it in you. You don't understand, I say. When I got to my meeting this morning, it turns out that they were the board members I was meeting. Her mouth breaks into a big, round circle as she gasps. Oh, that's somewhat unexpected. No kidding. I don't know what to do, I said raggedly. She looks at me questioningly as she asks, well, what did they do? You have no idea how uncomfortable it was. I felt like just sinking through the floor. Everything I've worked for just went up in flames. Did they just fire you? She asked, sounding confused. No, they carried on as if it was all just in a day's work. And then they had the nerve to act as if they expected me to meet them tonight to go dancing. Well, that's excellent, Heather says with glee. Clearly, you've fallen in with a great bunch of guys. As I said, no judgment. It seems they agree, I added dryly. But what does that say about me? Heather looks at me oddly and replies, You tell me. Clearly, you seem to be the only one that's having an issue with this. I'm not certain why you're so concerned, she shrugs, since they didn't seem to find it to be a problem. Enough, Heather says sternly to me as I continue to stare at her forlornly. The self-pity train has left the station. It's time to put your big girl panties on. My mouth drops as I realize she may be right. It's unfair for me to act like a victim of my unconscious actions. I am a strong, intelligent woman. What I do in my personal life has no bearing on my professional life. If I'm not happy crossing that line, then I need to hold myself accountable. Maybe I'm just not as open-minded or as adventurous as I thought I was. But I've worked too hard for this to allow it all to go off the rails now. Heather pats my knee as she stands. You'll figure it out, she says. But if I were you, I would go with the flow. You don't know how many women wish they were in your predicament. At the end of the day, only you can decide if it's worth the risk. I'm off shift, she says as she starts to walk away, but I'll be back at the desk late tonight. If you need some moral support, don't hesitate to drop down and give me all the smexy details. With a wink and a wave, she leaves me to my thoughts. Straightening, I head to my room. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I repeat the mantra over and over again, strengthening my resolve and wonder what I have in my suitcase worthy of a night out with the guys. That's it. I promise. Down. The book is down. You want it? You go get it. Free OKU. $2.99 if you want to buy it. And I highly suggest you buy it. I've even given away a few gifts of it just because this sucker was hot. No, you want me to read the bar scene? Seriously? Seriously? You not tell my voice? Do you want me to, seriously, Mercy, do you want me to read the bar scene? Okay, good. They can read the bar scene. Yeah, I think that's a better idea. I think I done reeled it back in and I threw my line out, reeled it back in. Now I'm setting that hook. All right, ladies, get your asses to bed and read this book. Read it, read it, read it, read it. I'm telling you, it's hot as shit. Hot, 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 hot. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here playing with this thing in my hand. Holy shit, kebabs. Really? Real life? Damn, girl. Yeah, I guess I could kind of see it being a real life scene. The shower scenes. Oh my gosh, the shower scene. Damn. The group scenes are my favorite, but hell, fire. Them single scenes are pretty good too. All right, 9 o'clock. Time for me to go to bed. Whew, I'm gonna have to read this book again. Damn. Got my girly bits all a Twitter. All a Twitter. All right, ladies, have a good weekend. I expect a full report. If you guys want to read the book this weekend, holler at me, and we'll come together on Monday night, and we'll have a chit-chat about it if you want to. Book club style. Just let me know what you think. Holler at me. You guys have a great weekend. I love you dearly, and I will talk to you Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. Happy reading.